Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Breakdown. Today we'll be taking a look at the MS-14BR Gelgoog High Mobility R-Type, piloted by Vincen't Gleisner. I'm a little mixed on this DLC suit. I think the R-Type High Mobility is a really cool looking suit, and I think some of the stuff that it brings to this game is really cool. Some of the stuff is not great, and since it's $5, let me show you what I mean. We have the basic shot, which recharges on its own. Pretty quickly too, which is not too bad. You have the charged version, which allows you to fire off a quick bazooka. Does pretty good damage, gives a burn. Then you have the actual bazooka, which can hit in green lock if you aim it correctly, and has some slight tracking in red lock. It does also stop your movement, so even if you don't have any ammo for it, you can use it to get a quick stop, which is not too bad at all. Right trigger gives you this charge, which can be meleeed out of, which is very nice. Though the charge itself doesn't do any damage of its own. It's for meleeing out of, and it does not cost any ammo for it. You can do it as much as you have boost to do it. So it's very handy. And finally, you have the beam naginata that can be thrown. The beam naginata is both great and terrible at the same time. For short range, dedicated stun, absolutely amazing. Get some distance on it though. And as you can see, it can be kind of hard to hit with. Sometimes you may luck out, and it hits. Sometimes you may not. And it's not a matter of luck, because sometimes you can be in a decent lock, and it still just go completely wild. You have a slight control over it, because you can control which arm you want to throw it from, which will allow you to arc it, and if you spend some time with it, you can probably get pretty good with it. It's just really strange. I spent a lot of time while practicing just working on it. And as you can see there, it's also relatively easy to sidestep because it has such a very obvious trajectory. There are times where it can pull some pretty quick moves to be able to get away from it, but for the most part, the trajectory is very obvious, which unfortunately makes it not as useful as it could have been otherwise. Show off the burst if we can get to it. Hit us once here, and then we can show off the burst. Hit. Go ahead. Hit. Yep. It is a melee burst. Pretty cool though. Not too bad at all. Really like the swing back in. Pretty nice. As we go into the second round, though, where we'll show off the melee, we of course have to ask the question, should you use and should you purchase Vincen's Gelgoog? Honestly, if you're somebody who really likes melee, this suit has some cool stuff to it, but I think that other suits, especially other 300s, have the melee better, I would say. The Pixie, the Burning Gundam, the Exia. There are so many other suits that do a better job of melee. If you're a mid-range, like range kind of person, I think there are a bunch of other suits that have guaranteed stuns, that have the dedicated stuns, that have better ranged options as well. If you're just a Gelgoog fan, there's already a Gelgoog in this game. So it kind of fails on every aspect. You know, when it comes to that, I just don't think it's worth purchasing. The Striker is a basic melee combo. And as you can see there, the regular melee combo has a stun built into it as well, which means if you're in melee, and you're throwing your naginata in melee, and you're going in, you're probably going to get some good damage. It just doesn't feel great when you miss with a naginata, basic melee combo, or when you're right in front of somebody and it throws off to the side. It feels great with a charge and being able to go in on people with that. Back melee is either a stomp if you're dashing, or this basic one strike here. The stomp is more vertical, which is not too bad. The standard attack can easily be comboed out of. That's not too bad either. Your forward melee, nice 2-hit combo. Side melee, too bad at all. Go ahead and hit with the forward melee just to show it off. That's the one with the stun. Then you have your basic melee, of course, as we talked about before. Its melee's fine, and that's where it really excels. It just doesn't feel as good as other suits in this game do. Interesting to note there, as you could see, you do get hyper armor. on the Naginata toss. It's just a very different form of hyper armor in that it's only really available on that toss and on the charge. And you still take the damage. It doesn't really like shrug it off the way you might want it to. But it's decent, and it's something to admit that is there. I just don't think it's worth the cost. $5 for a suit that does things that everybody else does better is just really weird. If you're a huge fan of Vincen't or the R-Type itself, then maybe it's worth it for you. But otherwise, I don't think this one's worth purchasing. With all that said, though, I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. And Vincent's Gelgoog has to offer.